A tale of two hats. Which one will I wear? Just kidding, it's the chopper hat. Hey everyone, Merch Hunter Ricky here, and I just want to throw up a little warning for this video. This video is going to contain heavy imagery of child abuse, children alongside drugs, as is the heavy subject nature of Punk Hazard. If this is too much for you, I heavily encourage you to not watch this video, but if you are a fan of Mocha, please stick around to see the bravery of the coolest little girl in One Piece. Also, this contains spoilers for chapter 1060+, so if you're not trying to see those, don't watch the last roughly minute and a half of this video. Thanks, and have a good one, everyone. What is it about the characters in One Piece that, aside from the main cast of the Straw Hats, draws to them? What is it about their backstories that are equally as impactful as a Straw Hat backstory? What is it about a side character that becomes more than a side character, that gains a cult following? A character that not only gets that following, but earns a spot in the heart of millions, if not hundreds of millions of fans across the world. This is an episode of Side Piece, where I attempt to catalog, break down, and I guess you could say roughly explain the backstories and character motivations of everyone in One Piece not in the Straw Hat crew. Thank you, and have a seat. Hey Merch Hunters, Ricky back, and today we are talking about the story of Mocha, a brave little girl kidnapped and taken to Punk Hazard. Kidnapped by a weird general whose name I can't remember because he is irrelevant and weird looking. When you see him later in this video, you'll see what I mean. Back to Mocha. At the negligence of the G5 Marines, children have been being lost at sea in accidents for about 3 years, and I believe that's how long Mocha and them were kidnapped at Punk Hazard. Regardless, they finally got their break when they met Nami and Chopper of the Straw Hats. Pulling at Nami's heartstrings and making her presence be known, Mocha and Sind, I think his name is pronounced Sind or Sid, of the Punk Hazard children, quickly let them know something was wrong and that they shouldn't be here. When they're sober, they're able to make clear decisions, but once they ingest the candy of Caesar, the side effects start to take place. Once they are taken away from the candy, withdrawals start to take place. This is a brutal video, and I'm not holding anything back. Mocha is one of my favorite characters, stronger than the average character in One Piece, not just because she has giant DNA running through her right now, but because she had the gall and the spirit and the bravery to ask for help. Too many times in life, people just don't ask for help, and the opportunity to get help slips by. But Mocha said this is her last only chance to get help, and she didn't let the opportunity go by. So take a trip with me. So like I stated earlier, Mocha and the other children were able to pull at Nami's heartstrings specifically. Frankie was already in tears. Sanji was saying, "Let's go." I don't know if Chopper was actually there at the time, but regardless, once Nami had been told that by Mocha to come back and save them, that was kind of it. You know, Nami said, we're saving these children, we're not leaving without them. You can, they walk in and you're, oh my god, look at these gigantic children, and next thing you know, it's like, hey, please save us, and the Straw Hats are like, what do you mean? What's going on? What does this mean? We're not sick anymore. And Nami's like, what do you mean you're not sick anymore? You're sick? And, Nami was an orphan. Not only that, but she lost her foster mother to Arlong. Nami's got a weakness to children, and that's not a bad thing. So, after saying, how can I possibly turn my back on these children? Sanji takes a big poof of that cigarette, and they get to work. They rescue these kids. And honestly, it starts one of the greatest arcs in One Piece. So let's flash forward just a little bit up until when Tashigi and Smoker get their bodies changed and they take a little bit of a brief respite from fighting Law. Tashigi is letting them know that at the negligence of the G5, children have been going missing at sea, reported as accidents at sea, never to be seen again, and their parents are just left to cry on an island, waiting for their children to one day hopefully come home. But they don't know. They have zero assurance that could happen. And unfortunately, Toshigi didn't really have the balls to say it out loud, contrary to Mocha, who had the gall to just straight up tell them, I need help, and you need to save me. So Smoker had to dig it out of Toshigi. What do you think? What are you trying to say, Toshigi? Say it now. Say it with your chest. You got a chest on you now. Say it. And what did he say? He explained, or she rather, explained inside of Smoker's body that she believes that the culprit of this mess is the head of the G5. Now, she didn't say it was specifically Virgo, but, who else could it be? And later on in the arc, we get confirmation that this is, in fact, the status quo. Children are neglected, taken away at sea, kidnapped by the Marines, and traded to Caesar on Punk Hazard for the subject of child experimentation to undergo gigantification, to one day have a large army of soldiers strong enough to take over the world and impose the nastiness of the world government. However, what they didn't expect is to run into the Straw Hats, who have the most beautiful bleeding hearts for these kids. And right away, the first mistake was keeping Chopper next to those children. If Caesar was smart, he would have immediately taken Chopper out. But luckily, he didn't have the chance to even meet Chopper. I don't even think at any point in the arc they actually meet, which is just really lucky for Chopper. Smoker, being the vigilant watchdog that he is, knows that it's Caesar Clown. He is no chump. The fact that he is able to do so fast that it's Caesar Clown is honestly one of the most impressive feats of this arc. And the Smoker slander stops in this video, because without Smoker, we wouldn't have Law doing what he's currently doing in certain chapters. So let's give Smoker some respect where it's due, alright? Not only that, but he is one of the main reasons these children escaped the island. So once again, Smoker slander stops here in this video. Now, when we get to the Straw Hats trying to hang out with the kids and make them feel better and find a way for them off the island, this is when the arc ramps up to from a 0 to 10,000. And this is truly when Mocha becomes the star of the arc. Otherwise, I'd be naming the other kids like Dolan, Sin, Kanbu. I forgot the other one's name. Oh well. But Mocha is the star of the arc. Once they start undergoing the withdrawal symptoms and Chopper has to start doctoring it up, the scary part of this is that they are literally at the mercy of children with the strength of giants. At any point in time, the kids had they neglected the kids just any further, the kids would have killed them, straight up. But luckily, Chopper is such an experienced doctor that he was able to dig it out of, Brownbeard, and get Brownbeard to spill the beans on what's happening on the island. Unfortunately, Brownbeard has been brainwashed by Caesar at this point. So he thinks that what the master, quote unquote, is doing is good for the children. And obviously it's not. And once again, like I said, this video is about Mocha because pretty soon here you're going to see exactly why I chose her as the subject matter of the video. As the withdrawals of the children start to ramp up their strength and their anger and their impatience, their need for the candy, Chopper discovers that they are on NHC-10, something that not many doctors are even allowed to use. It's a heavy addictive stimulant that Dr. Kureha is allowed to use, and even she doesn't use it that much. Now, what the scary part of this is, think of yourself as a parent. I have 3 children myself. I've also been a sick child in the hospital, misdiagnosed with a disease and forced to take medicine that fucked me up for life. But anyways, these children were going through it, feeling the worst symptoms of their lives, their body actively destroying itself against these children's will. Yet these children had the power to persevere and power through it all. These children are amazing. The writing of this arc is top tier, with the gas and the soldiers and Law, Monet, all these people, all these moving factors make such a pivotal story. So now let's head to an island in the New World. An island run rampant by the G5, the corrupt part of the G5, that is, by Commodore Yarisugi, the guy who I said earlier in the video doesn't matter because he looks weird. And he is weird. Weirdo. Dork. Jerk. Anyways, so this scumbag is responsible for forcing these adults to break down and give up their search for their children, to force them to get back and quote-unquote stay in line while he just eats all the apples in their stand. These poor jerks of the G5 are just walking around the island like they own the place, telling people to back up because their job is hard. And, oh, are you bothering me? You know, and well, you got Mocha's mom, you have the rest of the parents just, you know, every day looking at the final picture of the last couple days they spent with their children before they were mysteriously kidnapped, probably by these G5 men themselves. These ones working directly under Commander Vergo had everyone fooled, thinking that, you know, they're defending the island from pirates. I don't see any pirates, do you? I see sad parents missing their children. And this is why Tashigi later on in the arc breaks down and cries when she asks Nami to please let her make up for this and take the children to Dr. Vegapunk. You know, this is probably one of the more hard to get through scenes for me. Like I said, I'm a father now. I got kids. If my kids went missing, I would lose my mind. Unfortunately, this guy is just, you know, his job is to make the Navy look tough, strong, unquestionable. And, you know, beating down on the children's parents and saying, you know, your kids are dead. They're never coming back. They're lost at sea. It's over. You know? That's what really kills me in this arc, because your children aren't lost at sea. They're on Punk Hazard, but luckily, don't worry, they're getting saved by the Straw Hats, so buck up, Mocha's mama. Don't worry, everything's gonna be just fine. By the end of the video, I'll make sure that you all have a smile on your face. And I hold true to the day where we get the reunion scene of I'm getting a little emotional. Mocha and her mom and the rest of the kids with her parents. Like I said, this one just really hits hard for me. I love you, Mocha. Let's keep going. We go back to the cave where the Straw Hats are keeping the kids safe, and unfortunately Caesar shows up, and they immediately start beating down on Usopp and Nami, trapped currently in Sanji's body. Oh, this is hard for me. Watching the kids go through this is so brutal. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen a kid in pain, but it is one of the worst things you can see. And knowing that the kids are like actively hallucinating and feeling the fire inside of their veins, their muscles, their skeleton, their mouth, it's just too much. This arc really hits home, and I hope those of you without kids one day have kids of your own and cherish them to the moon. Here's a picture of me and my daughter. So here's me and my daughter. As you can see, she kind of resembles Mocha, so that's why I have a soft spot for Mocha specifically. When the kid is hallucinating and Usopp is trying his hardest to sedate them with the sleep star, and Caesar is just there actively undoing everything, I was getting so mad. White-knuckled, grit teeth, wanting to jump in the TV and beat the hell out of him for making Mocha cry like that. Caesar is a master manipulator. Using his candy with the little gassy fizzly effect in their mouths, it makes the kids enjoy it, and so they don't understand what he's doing to them, how he is actively turning them giant, more, you know, larger. Who knows if their organs are able to even catch up? Who knows if their bodies are able to actually handle this? When we see where he's getting the giant DNA from, it just goes back to one of my theories that Giant's true weakness, like a Pokemon, super effective, is ice. Every giant to date in the series, including Little Oars Jr., has died due to ice or in the presence of ice in Little Oars Jr.'s case, because he got killed by Moria and a bunch of other stuff. But the ice didn't make it easier for him either. What the crazy thing about seeing that freezer full of giants from is that they all reminded me of Dory and Bragi, and I really hope this is not the remnants of the giant warrior pirates. So once the kids become too much to manage, and the Straw Hats are fractured across the island of Punk Hazard, Caesar makes full use of his manipulative prowess and tactics, and he has them sent to the biscuit room. However, one child stays behind as she remembers the words of the Straw Hats to not trust Caesar and to trust the Straw Hats to take them home. Unfortunately, Mocha is going through the time of her life, the battle of her life. She is struggling and beginning to hallucinate, and that part, honestly, watching it for the 5th time, I think I've watched Punk Hazard 5 times. Watching it for the 5th time really, really got me. I just could not handle seeing her begin to hallucinate because, like, you don't do that to a child. They're children. Just like Chopper said, who would do this to children? They're innocent. Now, when they show the hallucination take place, I genuinely think it is one of the most impressive work done by Oda, because you gotta have some massive balls to do that. But he did it. And honestly, it is brutal. I mean, when Mocha starts crying and she starts remembering, like, hey, they're bad guys. Please, get back with us. Let us take you home. Mocha is fighting for so much. She's fighting for her body. She's fighting for the state of her mind. She's fighting for the ability to go home and remember who she is. And all while hallucinating. And it's not until Chopper gets to her and gives her the sedative that we see her finally remember things. But you see how hard her struggle is. It is not easy. Anyone who has ever had an addictive problem in their life, even something so simple as coffee and video games, it messes you up for life. You just don't know what to do with yourself when you're just sitting there trying to find an escape and be happy. But luckily, the Straw Hats show up. Chopper at the time scared her with his froggy snake appearance, but he was able to get some medicine on her and able to reverse the effects slowly. Going through a withdrawal of that magnitude, something going in your body so cataclysmic, Chopper is the Doctor of the Year. He genuinely owns this arc as much as Nami does, and Usopp. Those three really make this arc come around. Luffy is kind of a side character to this, you know? When she finally comes back and brings her mind to, and she's there with Chopper and she's remembering Nami and Usopp's words, tears, man, just tears. But this is where we get the strength of Mocha. This is where we get her true value and prowess. She's asking the questions that need to be asked. You know, she's growing. She's forced to grow up. Whatever age she is now, add 30 to that, and that's Mocha's mental age. She is finding out that the candy is bad, that it is something that will harm them for life and end up killing them, taking their life. And we see what happens next, you know? She breaks down a little bit, but she makes a solemn vow to help Chopper while he's getting his ass beat by them big, poor children going through withdrawal, not knowing what they're doing. You cannot blame the children in this arc at all for what they do to Chopper. It's just a casualty of war at that point, and unfortunately, Chopper was the only one on the receiving end of it. But he brings it together, and his leadership abilities and encouragement of Mocha to go ahead and endure his beating and just keep running, Mocha. Just keep going no matter what. It's truly admirable. What Chopper did, owning this arc and showing us what a true doctor does for his patients, is something of legends. This is going to always go down as one of my favorite Chopper moments. As the situation grows more dire, and Chopper is finally kicked out of Monster Point, the Straw Hats catch up to him, but it's not enough, unfortunately. Mocha gets cornered by the children, and they give her hell. She has to navigate the lab by herself, face down all her enraged gigantic friends by herself, and she then makes a critical decision to, you know, not just run, but to fight, to try and continue Chopper's work and tell the kids, you know, this is not what should be done. This is not normal. We should not be eating this candy. I can't let you eat this candy. Please, we want to go back home. Don't you want to go home too? She is an admirable girl, a little, strong, brave girl with the body of a giant. When they show Monet, show up and interfere, I genuinely lost my cool the first time watching it. But luckily, what Zoro does to her, which I'm not going to show, what Zoro does to her is amazing. And although not the focal point of the video, I'd be asinine to not bring it up. Now, when she's running and trying to avoid the kids and dodge them, she's forced to make a decision that not even adults could make. As we saw, Tashigi couldn't even bring herself to talk to Smoker about the kidnappings. He had to dig it out of her. But here we have a little, let's just say she's 8, 9, a little girl who makes the decision of a lifetime. Something that might not have been reversed. Something that could have killed her instantly had she not had a chopper waiting to fix her up. She got attacked by the kids, cornered on the steps, and in her mind she figured out there was only one thing left to do. I have to stop my friends from eating this candy, so I'm going to go ahead and eat it myself. I'm a little emotional just watching these clips play in front of me as I voice over them to you. This is something the bravery of the likes of Usopp and Nami can't even match. In this moment, Mocha becomes more than just a side character. She becomes genuinely my top 10 favorite characters in One Piece. Seeing her anger and her determination and will to stop her friends, I mean, look at this stare. This is something of legends. I'm sorry, Chopper, she says, and Chopper is just freaking out on the steps, and I mean, like, she immediately undergoes side effects. She instantly gets her body messed up. We might not know the extent of the damage she took, because luckily Chopper was there to reverse it, but I would be stupid to say this part didn't affect me. Showing her friends how they want to go on an adventure. I hope we get Two Piece showing these kids at age 20. But when Mocha did what she had to do, and she learns that because of the candy, because of what Caesar is doing to them, because they were kidnapped, they're forced to grow body-wise but not mentally, and die because of it. I mean, it's a really big deal. Like, it's something that Chopper has to say. He has to break the veil. You're no longer just a child, Mocha. You're growing up, and you're growing up right now, and you're doing an amazing job of it. And I love when Chopper explained and he just felt the pain, and then finally when they go back and they see her cough up blood and the children don't even know how to react to it, you know, it's just, although the hardest scene to watch and the scariest scene and honestly reduced me to tears, it is still a moment of bravery and beauty, because that's what it means to be a hero. When you pick up the mantle of doing something like heroism, you don't just stop when the day ends or when it is beneficial to you. You do what you have to at every moment to save as many lives as possible, even if it means sacrificing your own. And to see Mocha just go ahead and eat all that candy and cough up blood, and you see Chopper's angry tears, and everyone just stops in their tracks. Even the children stop in their tracks. Like, what more can be said other than good job, Mocha? Although you should not have done it that way, good job for being a little hard ass. But this next scene when the Marines show up with Sanji and they start, sedating the kids and restraining them, this is Oda in his peak bag. This is what he does best. He is able to suspend the disbelief of, she's not going to come out of this, and then boom, the Marines are there to save her. And even then, you're still like, what is he going to do? And what is Chopper going to do for this girl? She's literally bleeding from her mouth. Her inner body is at war with itself. But like Chopper says, she is strong. She is brave. No regular person would do that. She is a little gangster. Mocha, you rule. This is, like I said, this is what Oda does best. He makes the situation as dire as it can get before he makes it better. I mean, even Mocha smiling here, it definitely stopped my tears in that moment. Knowing that Chopper had the cure already and he knew what to do, and she's going through it, that pain must not have been good at all. I genuinely loved the scene of her vomiting. I know it's stupid and weird to say, but knowing that she's getting the toxin out of her body was just amazing to me. And then seeing the G5 just hold her up and run as hard as they could to get her to the transport unit. I think it was like a little train cart, well, a gigantic train cart. It was like half of a tanker. knowing that she would be okay definitely stopped my heart flutters, you know? And after everything was said and done, they loaded the kids up and everyone off the island and avoided the gas, luckily. And then Tashigi has her moment of truth, where she essentially gives up her career as a Marine captain, which not many people are really thinking about. And she stays with the children with the help of Vegapunk. She makes sure to get these children safe. And at this point, I want to throw up a spoiler warning because spoilers for chapter, I think it was like 1050 or 1061 or 2 or 3, one of those chapters. Anyways, if you don't want spoilers after these next couple Tashigi scenes, please stop watching. So here are the spoilers. Like I said, this one means the most to me. Mocha and the other children of Punk Hazard are doing good in the hands of Tashigi. She was a woman true to her word. She got help from Vegapunk, and although it doesn't look like it here, just know that Mocha was roughly the size of Kaido, and now she's more or less the size of like a Katakuri compared to Kaido. And maybe I don't know Katakuri's height, but I could have sworn he was about half the height of Kaido and Big Mom. Let's just say if she went from 30 feet tall, she is now 15 feet tall. And like I said, I was that sick kid in the hospital, and I've also seen worse kids, you know? Think about someone like John Cena and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Every one of those kids he has to make a wish for, more than 75% of them he'll never see again because they pass away due to their illness. Now let's just bring it back to where Law cures the kids and removes all of the drugs from their body. Amazing moment. Although he cuts them up and it scares the crap out of Chopper, amazing moment. I'm glad, you know, that really helped me out. I really loved seeing the kids just come together and surround Mocha and be happy for her and worried for her and glad that they're all safe now, you know? And I think what makes it feel even better and more organic is showing Nami completely trusting Tashigi and feeling like she remembers the strength and the love of Belmare, who was also a female Marine officer and the mother of Nami. Maybe not the true mother, but what is blood to love, you know? Feeling that bond and that kind of strength is something that it's not easy and something that you don't take for granted in this world. But luckily, at the end of the story of Mocha, we get a Straw Hat party, and ain't no party like a Straw Hat party. And everything is going hunky-dory at this party. Everyone looks nice and happy, and this is kind of the moment that I wanted the story to close out on, but I like that Oda just slipped in one last life lesson, and you don't really get that from Oda too much. Like after the party something else happens, but this is one of those moments that I genuinely respect him for. So like I said, it's just a quick moment at the end of the party where Oda slips in just one final life lesson. You know, choose your role models, and if you're gonna call yourself a role model, why don't you act the part and be the role model? And that really just drove the whole rest of the arc home for me. The way that the pirates, I mean the G5 said, like, you know, we'll do the unthinkable. If we, you know, accept their help, we might just end up liking these guys. And I just really like moments like this, unexpected life lessons, and just a moment to reevaluate the whole arc in one moment, just one pivotal moment. Not trying to let these kids say goodbye, Tashigi standing up for them, the pirates having their own, or the G5 having their own internal battle of, I don't want to let you say goodbye to these pirates. They're pirates and we hate pirates. But Tashigi knowing in her heart the right thing to do is to let the Straw Hats take the credit for once in their damn pirate career. The news is going to give the credit to us, so why don't you let the kids say goodbye to the people they really love? These pirates did everything for us. They saved you, they saved me, they saved these children, and they stopped Caesar Clown and his deadly gas. And what did you guys do the whole time other than have to get saved? This is a story of all's well that ends well. Spoilers omitted, the kids are going to be okay. And this has been an episode of Side Piece. I've been Merch Hunter Ricky, and thank you for watching.